Chinese counterpart here this week to speak to him about that?
Yeah, I think we're working on that. Maybe we'll meet, and obviously we'll talk about it. I think the Chinese clearly have been supportive of the Russian effort, and I think that generally they've been willing to help them as much as they can without getting caught. But people in Europe and other parts of the world have noticed. But in the end, this peace, if it's possible and doable, will happen between Ukraine and Russia, and we're willing to do whatever we can to help bring it to an end. These engagements are very important to us, and we're going to continue to stay very committed because this, as I said to all of our partners, that this notion or idea that the United States would ever be distracted by the Indo-Pacific or even Southeast Asia is impossible. You can't be maybe it doesn't always, wars get more attention, but it's impossible to not be focused. This is where much of the story of the 21st century is going to be written. This is where 2/3 of economic growth is going to happen over the next 25 or 30 years. And many of the countries in Southeast Asia, not only are they some of the youngest countries in the world, but they're about to see an enormous expansion of their labor markets, their labor pool, number of workers. This is a historic, once-in-a-generation opportunity, not just for these countries to revolutionize themselves from an economic standpoint, but further strengthen our relationship. We have over 6,000 American companies that have invested heavily in these economies over the last 20 or 30 years. We're not abandoning those relationships. On the contrary, we want to strengthen and build upon them. And there are a bunch of other issues, and certainly trade is part of it. But there are a lot of other issues that we work together on, and we continue to highly prioritize that. The story of the 21st century will be written in the Indo-Pacific. And the countries represented here today, along with others that have joined to be a part of this, represent some of not just important markets, some of the most important partners we have in the world. So this has been made clear to countries around the world. We were coming up upon the middle of this month, and the markets demand certainty. And so these letters set a baseline. Now, obviously, that does not foreclose the opportunity for individual countries to enter into negotiations that perhaps can adjust those numbers. But in the end, the president still remains very committed to a rebalancing of trade that's fair to America and also at the same time protects our own industrial capabilities.